So we'll give everybody a couple seconds to get on here.
All right. You're going to have to holler at me and let me know who else on. Oh, I wonder if I can watch it.
You should be able to. Like just mute it, but you should be able to watch it and like see the questions.
There's like a minute delay, so I'll hear you talking and then talking about what we already said, so that'll screw me up because I'm hearing it through my earphones.
Right. There's no way for you to mute the chat though, like the video.
I don't know.
So.
I don't see.
Right now we got Neil, Mike Bolin, and Ryan Reed on right now watching us. So.
Yeah, I don't.
And Curtis, and I mean we can start rolling now. We got a few people on.
All right.
All right. First question: will the Jets beat the Dolphins this weekend?
Oh, hold up. Let me get. I got her. Hold on. I just got to that page.
Forgot you're old.
Yeah.
Takes you a second.
What the shit did I do with it? All right, go ahead and talk about it because I gotta find it.
All right, yeah, I do think the Jets will beat the Dolphins. I don't, but it's hard for me to be like super confident in it. Like that's who I picked in my picks, and I think they're a way more talented team. But it's like hard for me to have like a lot of confidence in the Jets because I'm confused on what kind of team the Jets are because one week they look really good and then the next week they look terrible. So I'm not sure exactly what to expect. I'm just based on talent alone. I'm gonna say they should win, and the fact that they kind of got into a little groove and looked better until last week. Then they lost the stinker to the winless Bengals. That had to have been embarrassing.
Yeah,
but
that was crazy.
Until Adam Gase gets out of there, I'm never going to be real confident. So I'm just going to go and say that off talent alone is the reason why I'm picking the Jets.
Right. Well, this was the hardest game for me to pick, believe it or not. I mean, given any other time, I would have rolled with the Jets because it's the Dolphins. But Dolphins have actually been playing a little bit better. I mean, Fitzmagic's just winging it all over the court or all over the field, and Devontae Parker had actually come to life. Jets got a little bit of bad news, and they're not going to have Jamal Adams for this game, and that really, really depletes that secondary, in my opinion. And with Fitzmagic being, a gunslinger, so to speak, Adams coming out playing the way he has been since Preston Williams went down. And I took the Jets, but I was not very confident at all. If we had to do like a confidence rating, this would be like
1.
It'd be like a 3 at the very most.
Right.
So yeah, but I'm with you. I mean, the Jets are a Jekyll and Hyde team.
Rosie, what up?
They're probably them and the Cowboys are about the most Jekyll and Hyde team in this league right now. Because you never know what one's going to show up. Is it going to be the world beater, or is it going to be the one that doesn't look like they belong?
I mean, yeah, that's true. I would have put the Titans in that group before they switched to Tannehill, but ever since they switched to Tannehill, they've been really good.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm with you on Gase. Gase needs to go. I mean, and hopefully the management there figures that out. The sooner the better for the franchise because he's basically been a bum anywhere he's went.
Yeah, Gase I don't know how he keeps getting jobs in football.
I don't either, to be honest with you. There are so many more talented guys that are coming up through the ranks, coordinators and such that I don't get it. I don't get the draw. He's supposed to be the quarterback whisperer, and he had one decent year with Cutler when he was the OC in Chicago. And, Smoking Jay Cuddy went down there with his pack of Marlboros and he turned out to be a bunch of garbage as well under Gase's tutelage. So, I don't know. It just, as soon as Gase goes, then because they got good talent on the team. There's no
They
denying
do.
that.
They do.
I think Sam Darnold's way better than what he's shown. I mean, Darnold's highs are really freaking high, and his lows are just like
bottom of the barrel low.
Yeah, knock a hole through the floor or fall into the basement. I mean, it's just kind of insane, and I think a lot of that has to do with the play calling from Gase because, like that New England game, he runs two patterns for the receivers, and there's no outlet for Darnold.
Right.
We talked about that before with the Le'Veon Bell. Where's the Le'Veon Bell outlet?
Yeah, that you should always have.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, man, I'm going to say yes just because they're the better talent of the two team-wise, but I think it's going to be a dogfight.
Yeah.
Being in New York.
I agree. All right. Next question is, can the Tennessee Titans go on a run despite their tough schedule coming up?
Yeah, I know we've got one of our listeners asked this question, and I know he's a Titans fan, and I researched this and I looked it over, and I don't see it because I mean they got to go to Oakland, and any team going to the left coast, that's a tough place to play.
It's a tough trip.
Tough place to play, and Oakland has not performed very well. And so, knowing Gruden the way I do, I mean, having watched him coach in this league for a long time, I guarantee you he lit them boys up in practice.
Yeah, after two performances like this, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm giving them a win in Oakland, but...
You see who they have after that, right?
They're going to be followed by the 3 losses, one each to the Texans, one to the Saints.
Yeah, home Houston, home New Orleans, at Houston. That's brutal. Oh man.
I don't see it happening.
I mean, they've played good ball since Tannehill's been in, but that's gonna be tough. I actually see them going 2-2 down the stretch, and going 9-7 because Houston is that team that will play to like the level of their opponents always, right? So I'm gonna give them one of those games against Houston, and I'm gonna say that they're gonna go 9-7 because those are the games that Houston just tends to lose, and we've all seen it, and we don't know why because Houston's still super talented, but they just cannot play above their opponents' levels usually, and it's got to be aggravating as a Texans fan, but at least you're always going to be in it, I guess. But so I'm just going to go ahead and just say the one at home. I think they'll win Oakland, win Houston, and then they lose 2, and that's going to keep them out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I mean, either scenario that we just threw forward, we 1-3, you 2-2. That's not enough.
Yeah, Vargas. How about them Cowboys?
Is Lynn on?
No, she ain't on. She's on vacation right now, so she won't be watching right now.
That's right.
So.
Okay, well, then I have free reign here.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That is, wow. I was blown away watching that last night. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Jason Garrett got a job.
I was laughing so hard because they made Mitch Trubisky look like he was Peyton Manning last night, and it was hilarious.
Well, and they talked about it, Aikman and
Buck?
Yeah.
Sucky Bucky?
They talked about that last night. And you noticed that once they said something, you kind of noticed it, that Nagy simplified things for him. They don't have the deeper, all the deep throws that he was always trying to make, and the ability to take off and go when he feels it's necessary. And, I mean, he was running like a madman last. He looked kind of like Josh Allen out there a little bit, the way he was running the ball. It seemed like every time he took off, he was getting a first down.
Yeah.
And, Trubisky looked good. That defense looked really good.
He did.
That score does not indicate how much that game was
a blowout. That game was a blowout.
Yep. It was a one-score game, but it was a blowout.
That's just like the Houston-New England game 2 weeks ago. That was a blowout, even though
Yep.
the score looked like it was close.
Yep, and
You get those
for
sometimes.
me, watching that game, the dagger was when Maher missed that field goal.
You know,
You
Buck.
almost feel the air
I think
leave the
Yeah,
Dallas sideline.
yeah. I think it was Buck that said that pretty much the first half of that game was a mirror image of the Buffalo-Dallas game from Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Dallas scores. The other team puts up 10. Dallas misses a field goal. Like, uh-oh.
And two, that defense,
See you later, Steven.
they statistically are good defense, and I don't say this much about rookies, especially on the defensive side of the ball, but they are really missing Leighton Van Esch, in my opinion. That kid is an animal. I mean, when he is out there, he is sideline to sideline and all over the field. And I think that really changes the makeup of their defense because Sean Lee is not a young guy anymore.
No.
He cannot fly around like he used to, and with his injury history and everything.
Yeah,
he's
sad to
slowed
see
down.
because it was actually a Cowboy I actually liked.
Yeah,
So.
but I like this Leighton Van Esch kid. I mean, there was actually a couple teams I was really hoping would take him, but other than the Cowboys. So yeah,
There's only one Cowboy I like.
I chose Dallas to win that game because one, it was a home. Two, in my opinion, they should have been in desperation mode. They surely did not show that in the first half. And
Outside the first drive.
I really didn't think Trubisky, you and I are in the same boat. We don't think Trubisky's that good, but he looked really good last night. I had a guy I was chatting with on Facebook. He's a Chicago fan, and he asked me what I thought about it, and I told him, I said, your team's only going to go as far as Trubisky, and I hope you're not thinking that the Trubisky you saw last week against the Lions is the true Trubisky because the Lions make anybody look good right now.
I hope that same Trubisky shows up next week.
Well, what one?
The one that played against Dallas. Because they play the Packers and they can really help out Minnesota.
Oh, yeah, well.
And the Packers defense is only like 28 too, so it's possible.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I had Dallas winning for those reasons. I didn't think Trubisky would step up, and boy, did he.
Yeah, he did. He looked extremely well, and finally, for once, he was making plays with his legs.
Yep.
He didn't have a single game of more than 18 yards on the ground this year, and I think he had 64 on the ground last night, including including that 23-yard touchdown, and he looked like an all-pro running back on that.
Yep.
And it was.
That's the other thing too, and I know you heard him touching on it. Is that was probably one of the sloppiest tackling displays I've seen in a long time. That was disgusting.
It was. Like I said, they made Trubisky look like an all-pro running back.
I assure you that the missed tackle count had to have been upwards of 20.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed like every time whatever Bear had the ball, there was at least one missed tackle on that player.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's just, I was blown away. I mean, I kind of wish I'd have been in Dallas area when Jerry Jones was supposed to be on Sports Talk down there. I wanted to hear what he had to say personally.
Did you hear him on the radio this morning? Getting super mad?
No, I was already gone through there, so I was out of range. I
Yeah,
guess
he was,
I pulled it up on my radio app on my phone,
so
but I didn't think about it.
pretty much the guy, asked him if it was embarrassing, them losing, and he, snapped on him and was like, are you out of your goddamn mind? You better get your shit together, blah, blah, blah. It was just like, damn, dude.
Yeah, I did read that on Bleacher.
I'm like, my God. This guy's lost his damn mind. He needs to just leave.
Yeah.
He's losing it, man. He's got to be, how old is he? He's got to be up there.
82, I think I heard somebody say. Oh, I'll Google it right now.
But yeah. It's embarrassing to have an owner that does what he does all the time.
Yep.
And it's a distraction to the team.
77.
77?
Yep.
Old enough. Get his ass out of there.
Right.
So, Tyler. All right, next question. Why does everyone think the Dolphins are going to win Sunday? We kind of already went over that.
Yeah.
That's a Thursday question. That game's already over. So, all right. Will Ron Rivera find another job, and does Carolina move on from Cam Newton?
Yes. Yeah. And yeah. Yes and no. No, because with Cam Newton, I'll touch on Ron Rivera here in a minute, but I want to get Cam Newton. I don't think they can afford to move on from him. He is going to be a $21 million cap hit next year. And he's still got one more year in his contract. So,
yeah, but if they can't find a trade suitor?
You think somebody's going to pay him $21 million?
So, I mean, to me, I thought for sure the Bears were going to do it. So I guess it depends on how Trubisky plays these last 3 games. Because if he looks good like he did last night, they probably won't. But I think the Bears would have.
That's a lot of money for an oft-injured quarterback.
Yeah, but they were desperate. I mean, so I guess maybe now it makes it like a little less likely.
Right. And that was according to Spotrac that he's a $21 million cap hit. So they're pretty reliable. I believe pretty much anything they put out there.
Damn, he's gonna be a $21 million backup to Kyle Allen. Damn.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. But as far as Ron Rivera, yeah, he's gonna find a job easily. I actually, you gotta wait for some of the chips to fall first. Garrett, Dallas, Quinn possibly in Atlanta. These are names that I'm hearing that are on the hot seat. Shermer, I heard, but I think they give him another year because this is only his second, right?
Yeah, it's only his second year, and he was given a team right after they traded Odell Beckham. And they knew that it was going to be a train wreck transitioning from Eli.
Yep, so
I don't think that they're going to get rid of him either.
I think they give Shermer one more year. Marone down in Jacksonville is rumored to be his job's in jeopardy.
He needs to go.
Patricia was listed, but I think he stays.
They're saying they're going to give him one more year.
Yeah. Gaze, of course. Anthony Lynn out in San Diego.
I don't like that.
They really underperformed this year and last year, to be honest.
12-4 last year.
I know they made the playoffs last year and everything, but they almost won the division. But man, that team should be so much more better than what they are showing.
Well, I think this year's more Phillip Rivers than anything. A coach can't stop age decline. I mean, that just hit him out of nowhere, and people didn't think he was ready for that. I think I was the only person who called that in the offseason.
Yeah. But no, there's some heads that are going to fall, and Rivera will end up in one of those spots. Kitchens in Cleveland,
Kitchens will probably be gone.
Yep. So Rivera will end up somewhere. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Say there's 2 100% on that list to me. Garrett's gone. Kitchens is gone. Okay.
You don't think Quinn is guaranteed?
I do, but I don't because he's had some success there though. I don't know if one bad year is gonna do it. I would say probably higher than 50%, but I wouldn't say 100. No.
Right.
I think Kitchens has got to go. There's no way you have that much talent on a team and you can't win. He's gone.
Right. Yeah. And the other thing too is Rivera is a good coach. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, he had a rough year, but he had a rookie quarterback for 90% of it. The guy's made the playoffs 7 of his 9 years in Carolina. He's with a 3-4 record. He's for his 9 years in Carolina, he's 76, 63-1, and was a Super Bowl runner-up in 2016. So it's not like he went there and they did nothing.
Right.
I was actually kind of surprised that they let him go, to be honest with you. I thought that was kind of a dumb move on their part because there's so much worse out there.
Yeah.
And personally, I think it's a move that might come back and bite him in the ass somewhere down the road. But, that's their decision. They're the ones that are signing the paychecks, so they want to cut him, which they did. So that's kind of my sentiment on the whole thing.
Yeah. I agree with you, and yes, I think Ron Rivera will get a job easy. I think he's not had a lot of. First of all, I don't think the Panther ownership is very good. They consistently lack the same pieces every year, and it's never addressed. I don't remember they got lucky with DJ Moore, but I don't remember the last time they've actually pursued a pass catcher. So, like, and that's been a big need for them since Steve Smith left. Like, that's been, and I know that doesn't seem that long ago, but it's been 8 years.
Well, to an extent, I guess in my opinion, you could consider Curtis Samuel. I mean, he was a third-round pick.
Yeah, he was, but he wasn't like he wasn't there. That was the guy that was going to hit the home run. You were trying to get Cam Newton a number one receiver, and they haven't.
If I remember right, Samuel had actually a low first, high second round grade, but he was injured during the draft, so he fell around.
Oh, so do you not agree with the ownership not making the right choices then, and trying to get Cam Newton the right pieces around him?
I agree that they have been.
So you think that they have been trying to build a team? Oh,
yeah.
See, that's where we differ. I don't think they've put a lot of effort into it, because it just, to me, it seems like that they've just been okay with Cam running and using his feet to make average receivers look good, but it hasn't happened, and it irritates me to see that. And I mean, he's had a lot of success despite that, and despite the fact that Cam Newton, actually, outside of that MVP season, Cam Newton hasn't been that great of a quarterback. Very overhyped because he's a great athlete. That happens with a lot of quarterbacks that are like that. You know, and Ron Rivera was still able to get them to places, including a Super Bowl, right? Granted, that was Cam Newton's extremely good season. But he got them to a Super Bowl where I think they were 15-1 that season, weren't they?
Last season?
No, the year they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 15-1.
Yeah. Okay. So he's done that. He's competed numerous years and got his team into the playoffs. I think that he's shown enough success that some other team's going to give him a job, and I think it'll be fairly quickly after some of these coaches get fired on Black Monday.
See, for me, DJ Moore is a better receiver than what people give him credit for.
Oh, I think DJ Moore's fantastic.
He's got 980 yards right now. He's going to break 1,000.
Yep.
In his second year in the league. So, and he's doing it with the rookie quarterback.
Yep.
And I think had Cam been able to be in there, I think he'd been more dynamic, because defenses have to honor Cam and his ability to take off, which pulls the safeties up and leaves more one-on-one coverages. DJ Moore tends to draw a little bit of a crowd, especially after about week 6, week 7, when he really started lighting it up. That's when he really started lighting it up, because he just, I think he's a good receiver. I think they did try. I mean, it's just, I don't think they tried hard enough in the aspect of getting the right offensive lineman to protect Cam.
Right.
Because Cam got a hit. I watched that first game. He got hit a lot.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that too. I'm not going to deny that. I've met as a whole. I just use pass catches because I've frequently noticed that they haven't had a lot of pass catches in Cam Newton's entire career. So.
Right. And Carolina's one of those teams too that refuses to give big money contracts to the linemen. I mean, Andrew Norwell took off. Khalil took off. I mean, they're better. Those two are better than what they had.
Coming from a Vikings fan, they didn't lose nothing with Khalil. So, if he's better than what they have now, which I know what they have now is not great, but coming from a Vikings fan, I'm very salty with him, and he's terrible in my eyes, and there's nobody worse, and that's just and we have Riley Reef, and I still say that there's nobody worse. So he had a really bad stint in Minnesota. And it's awful, and I'm still salty about that. And
a lot of that too is he was more into running his mouth at that time too.
It's very true.
Since he shut up, he actually became a better player.
He did. He was definitely better for them than he was for us.
Right.
And there should be no question about that. It's just one of those players I'm salty about because he should have been really good and he was just terrible. It was just frustrating. But
was there a second part of that Ron Rivera? Something about a coordinator?
Oh, that was that was the next question. I think they asked it like right about the same time. Best fit for Ron Rivera as a defensive coordinator?
Well, according to USA Today, there's 5 defensive coordinators currently on teams that are possible head coaches. Have the possibility to make the head coach. Don Martindale in Baltimore, Chris Richard in Dallas, or Richard, I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name. Leslie Frazier, who was the head coach of Minnesota at one time, I believe.
Yeah, he was.
That's the same one? Okay, I was going to say, I didn't know if that was the same one or not.
Captain Bland himself.
Matt Eberflus down there in Indy, and Robert Saleh out with the 49ers. If that's the avenue Rivera goes, the name I'm hearing the most around circles that he's being looked at is Martindale out of Baltimore. So I can see Rivera ending up there. He was very good DC, and I can't remember, wasn't he the DC with San Diego before he became a head coach?
I don't remember. I don't remember where he was. You're probably right. I don't remember where he was at. He's been with the Panthers for a minute now, so I didn't look that up because that wasn't like part of the question, so I didn't actually look up like where he was at before.
I want to say he was when the Chargers were in San Diego. He was DC there.
Yeah, I definitely trust you on your instincts there. I can't remember where anything right now for some reason.
Anyway, listen, if you know the answer to that, please comment and let us know.
Does anybody know where Ron Rivera was at before he was at Carolina? All right, we'll move on. We'll see if they answer us, but I don't want to sit here all awkward and crap. So, all right, Packers or Vikings? Who wins the division?
Packers.
Any reasoning?
Are you still there?
Any reasoning?
Oh, I thought you hung up on me. Got Aaron Rodgers, and he's been there. He knows how to carry that team. They got a much better running game, and a head coach is not afraid to use it.
Wait, they got a better running game than Minnesota?
No, I'm just saying they got they have an improved running game.
Okay, good. I was really about to call you out on that.
No, even though it's the same pieces, they have an improved running game because, his name's, I want to say Malarkey. That's not it. Was it Mike Malarkey?
For who?
Who was the previous coach with Green Bay?
No, it was Mike McCarthy.
McCarthy. Okay, I don't know why it's
Malarkey was like Tennessee or something.
Yeah. Okay. McCarthy. I don't know why he refused to use Aaron Jones. He's by far the best running back on that team.
Yeah.
I don't care if you hate that team or like that team. I give credit where credit's due. I'm not a big Packer fan, but kid's good. And in my eyes, if somebody's good, man, you want your best players on the field. And McCarthy refused to do that for whatever reason, even though Aaron Rodgers himself said, put this kid on the field.
Right.
And that ultimately, in my opinion, is what cost him his job.
Wow, that and his strained relationship with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and the Packers' defense is much improved over last year. And they've actually got an semblance of a defense.
They are, but that's not saying much. They're still ranked 28th. But you can see there's improvement. I'll give you that. But I still wouldn't. There's nothing to fear.
The kid on the corner there from Louisville.
Jair Alexander?
Yeah, Alexander has made dramatic leap from over his rookie year to this year. And, and then on top of that, as much as I know you hate him, to be truthful and be completely 100% honest, there's not many quarterbacks that you want under center in the fourth quarter with the game on the line than Aaron Rodgers, because dude has pulled out so many last play wins.
Who?
Rodgers.
Never heard of her.
Yeah, okay.
No, I agree. Aaron Rodgers is a stud. I've never said he's not. I've always given Aaron Rodgers the credit he deserves. I do not like him. Neil's correct. I do not like Aaron Rodgers. As a human being, I'm not a fan of Aaron Rodgers. As a team he plays for, not a fan of Aaron Rodgers. The athlete and the quarterback, I am a fan of Aaron Rodgers. He is a stud as a quarterback. He doesn't do what he used to do. I don't know if it's a little bit of a decline, because he's still not a bad player, right? But I don't know if it's a little bit of a decline or that he doesn't have to do much or a little bit of both. But he's still bad, and I still don't want him to have the ball in the fourth quarter with the game on the line. And I will always fear that. I will always fear that.
Talk about biting your fingernails.
Yeah.
You know, like say it's Minnesota and Green Bay, and Minnesota's up by 3, and there's 57 seconds left on the clock, and Green Bay's got the ball at the 30. I guarantee you are sitting on the edge of your couch chewing on your fingernails.
Hell yeah, I am. And I'm hoping Aaron Rodgers, and at that same time, I'm hoping Xavier Rhodes stubs his toe. Has to leave the game. That's what I'm hoping there. Like, get out.
Oh, you finally came around to me on the Xavier Rhodes thing.
No, I told you I agree with you. I think he's good with physical receivers. He can't cover the fast guys. It's clear as day this year, and he can't do it. I don't.
Yeah, well, we'll get to him here in a minute.
Yeah, he's 2 questions from now. We definitely will.
Yeah.
So, all right, my heart wants me to pick the Vikings, but the Packers' schedule is as follows: Washington, Chicago, who they already beat in Chicago, but so they have them at home. The Vikings in Minnesota, they may lose that one, but they have tiebreaker because of division record, right? So that still wouldn't give the Vikings the division. And then a Staffordless Lions team in Detroit. I am not comfortable with that. I have faith that I'm hoping that if the Packers lose one of these games, it's going to be because they beat themselves, which they do that a couple times a year. They did it when they played LA, the Chargers. They completely beat themselves. Okay, they're a way better team than the LA Chargers are, and they got dismantled. Okay, so that is what I'm hoping for.
Well, the same thing with the 49ers, and 49ers, granted, are a better defense than the Chargers, but
right.
San Francisco made them look like a bunch of amateurs out there.
Right, they did, but I'm just trying. Like, San Francisco's a team I legit seen beating Green Bay anyways. So,
right.
Like, I say the Chargers because that's a team that you know that like they're better than, and they shit the bed. Like that's a game where they just beat themselves. Like if you watch that game, you would be like, what is going on? You know.
Yep.
So. It's just as a Packer fan, that kind of has to be like disturbing because you know that comes once or twice a year. It's already happened once, So like you're just hoping that this is a season where it only happens one time and it doesn't happen a second. But usually they do it twice, and right. So I'm really hoping that they overlook Washington this weekend. And this is the game that it happens because this is the team that it would happen to, right? Not Detroit or Chicago because those are division rivals, right? They don't usually overlook those guys. It's this 3-9 trash Washington team that they're going to face this weekend is where the letdown usually happens. And I'm going to lose a lot of confidence if they win this game, which I totally expect them to, but my confidence level in the Vikings winning the division will go down significantly if they win this Washington game because I don't see them overlooking any divisional opponents. So it'll be tough. Chicago, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, my phone glitched for a second, so I was just making sure I didn't lose you. Yeah, so the Packers are probably going to win this division, but both these teams are built to make a run, and I think the Vikings really proved that on Monday. I think that was one of the funnest games I've watched all year. Was that Vikings-Seahawks game on Monday night?
Yeah.
That was two powerhouse teams just playing their hearts out on that field. And if the Vikings didn't have Xavier Rhodes, I think it would have been a different ball game. But man, that hurts. But they do, so they gotta deal with that. But it just showed like any of those teams can beat anybody. The NFC's stacked. Like any of these NFC teams outside of the NFC East winner has a shot at going to the Super Bowl.
All good. When it comes to Rhodes, all good things come to an end eventually. They're not going to play forever.
That's true. I definitely agree with that. All right. Most seasons we see the Patriots get ramped up and play lights out in December and roll it right into the playoffs, but it just feels different this season. Do you see them getting back to past form and pulling together that offense?
It does feel different this year. It feels a lot different. I mean, earlier in the year, it was the defense that was carrying them, and they didn't really have to rely on the offense much. I think Tom Brady has lost a lot more than what people think he has.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't have the arm. He doesn't have the velocity, even on the short throws, if you watch.
Yeah, that's why his interception numbers are up.
I mean, I can throw a 10-yard pass. I believe I can throw a 10-yard pass just as hard as he could right now.
Yeah.
And that's not lying. I would actually put $100 on it. That I could throw with as much velocity as he can right now. And I'm in no way am I in any kind of shape. But I've always been able to, I've always had a lot of velocity on things that I throw. But
hey, you're a big dude.
Yeah, he just, they've got one receiver in my opinion. That's Edelman. This N'Keal Harry kid, he was supposed to be the next coming, and he's done absolutely nothing.
Is he healthy? Is he healthy? Is he 100% healthy?
Yes.
Because I know he missed his first 8 games, so I'm wondering if they brought him back too quick.
Unless he got hurt again, and I didn't hear about it. But I mean, he's been in the system the whole time, and anybody who goes to the Patriot system, I'm going to take OBJ for an example. His rookie year, he went into the draft. The Giants drafted him. He was injured when they drafted him, just like N'Keal Harry is injured.
Yep.
OBJ, I want to say week 7 or 8, come out, guns a-blazing. I mean,
the catch.
He was in that system, and he sat there, and while he was injured, he studied. They said he was constantly in the film room, constantly had his playbook with him, and had his nose in it, learning the system they were using. And then it showed when he got on the field. And N'Keal Harry, I believe, is just as gifted as OBJ is. And, I mean, he's got 4 catches for 28 yards this year since he's been back.
Yeah, that's a letdown.
OBJ had that his first game in the first quarter.
Oh yeah. The game he got the catch in, that was his first game back, and I'm pretty sure he had 100 yards in that game. So
I'm looking at his career stats right now: 4 catches, 28 yards, along with 11 and a touchdown.
For who?
For N'Keal Harry.
No, I was talking about OBJ.
Oh, right now, yeah, he had 100 yards, because I picked him up that year. He was on the waiver wire. I thought, I needed a receiver. I thought, well, I'll give this. He was good in college. I'll give him a try and see what happens. And I threw him in my lineup, and boy, I was happier than hell I did, because he never left my lineup the rest of the year. But Brady's age. I mean, he's
42. What do you expect?
There's no way. I don't care how many TB12 or any sort of diets that he comes up with. There is no possible way he's playing until 46 years old.
No.
He's, in my opinion, done after this year.
He should be. He should be. He said, play until you suck. The year that Peyton retired, right? They asked him and Peyton that year before people knew Peyton sucked. They asked Peyton, and Peyton gave his answer, and they asked Brady, and they both said, play till you suck, right?
Yep.
And Peyton ended up sucking that year. What do you hung it up? Brady sucks now, okay? Mitchell Trubisky's been a better quarterback than you since week 4. And that's even if you take out the game that he played yesterday.
Yep.
Okay? He's been a better quarterback than you since week 4. Brady since week 4 is a quarterback rating of 80. I know that quarterback rating is the most overrated statistic in the league, but when your quarterback rating is 80, you are not playing good football.
You are not an elite quarterback anymore either.
No, you're nowhere near an elite quarterback. Like, that means, like, Sam Darnold's better than you. That means Daniel Jones is better than you. That Mitchell Trubisky, Kyler Murray's better than you. That's what that means. And, everybody wants to make excuses for him saying he doesn't have pieces and all this stuff anymore, right? Well, guess what? Like, great QBs make their pieces better. And that's what it is. Like, that's the difference between elite QBs and not. And this is how you can tell Brady's declining, because Brady's never, outside of when he had Randy Moss and Wes Welker there, he's never had, like, really big name weapons. He's turned people into better players than they were. That's who Brady was. That's who Manning was. That's what elite quarterbacks are. And he can't do that.
Yeah, look at prime example of making a player better than he was, Deion Branch.
Yeah, Deion Branch was nothing. It's just like Peyton Manning. Brandon Stokely was great anytime he was with Peyton. Both stints, never heard of him since, right? That's what those two do.
Deion Branch was a killer. Just a straight assassin in New England.
I love Deion Branch when he was a Patriot.
I want to say he went to, for some reason, Cincinnati and Tennessee are in my head. He went somewhere for a couple
I think he
years.
did go to Tennessee.
Was it Tennessee? Okay. He did, and he was just straight garbage. And went back to New England, lit it up. So, I mean, Brady's not that anymore, and I don't think the defense, I think the defense has fallen off.
It wasn't Tennessee.
Who was it?
Seattle.
Oh.
And he did have a good year with he had two good years with Seattle, or one. He had a good season with Seattle. But he was never. Did you know Deion Branch never had a 1,000-yard season?
No, I did not know that.
In 2005, the year that I think they beat. Was that the year that they beat Philly? No, that was the year after. Okay, no. The year they lost to Indy in the AFC Championship game, he had 998 yards and 5 TDs. That was his best season. But he was miraculous in the postseason.
Yeah.
The dude was an absolute stud in the postseason.
Yep.
So he had a
played way bigger than he was.
Yeah, and he was nothing once he left New England. His first season in Seattle was his only, I guess, good one, because he only played 13 games, so he had 725 yards and 4 TDs. You take away 3 games, that's a pretty solid season, and then nothing. So, and he was only 27, so you can't even say like he just declined, because he was just
he was in his prime.
Yeah. So he just didn't have it when he wasn't in New England.
Right.
So yeah, I agree. You can see it. I mean, everybody just wants to make excuses because he's arguably the GOAT, right? Second on my list, but arguably the GOAT. And that doesn't change that he's in that spot. Like, just because he's declining, like, that happens. There's a decline, right? Like, you can't beat Father Time.
Yeah,
he's undefeated, right? Like, so.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't mean that he sucks. Like, you guys just got to come to the realization that the guy's not immortal. He does have a decline, like everybody else does.
Yeah, there's a shelf life.
And it's hit, and they're going to find out in the playoffs when they don't go to the Super Bowl again, because he can't carry them. Because he's not going to face slouches in the Super Bowl or in the playoffs anymore. Maybe besides round 1, maybe. He might get one of these trash wildcard teams from the AFC. But after that, it's going to be a Houston or a Kansas City or a Baltimore that you're going to have to face and you're going to have to keep up with. And Brady's not. And if you think I'm joking, watch the KC game this weekend, and you'll see Brady not being able to keep up.
Yep.
And KC's defense ain't good, but Brady can't keep up with Patrick Mahomes anymore.
KC's defense has actually played pretty well.
They have improved. And I actually told Ryan Reed, who was watching, I don't know if he's still on, but he was watching. He's a big KC fan, and he's an admin in the NFL longest yard. And he was like, "Oh, it depends on or he said, with our defense, you never know." And I told him, I said, "Look, your defense has been better ever since the Minnesota game.
Yeah.
When they came out and they had a game plan to shut down Delvin Cook. Ever since that game and forward, their defense has played damn well, actually." And
yes, they have.
I just don't. Yeah, like, I mean, we're gonna get to our picks later, but you're gonna see what Brady's gonna look like in the playoffs this weekend.
Yep.
It's gonna be a preview, and all you people out there are just going to have to accept it. The age wins every time. Even against a guy as immortal as Tom Brady. It beat Peyton Manning. It beat Tom Brady. The next year or two it will beat Drew Brees. It's going to happen. So, just depends on when it hits you. And it hit him now. And you should be glad because this is like the oldest I've ever seen it hit a player. So.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I want to say Montana was right in that range, too, when he hung him up. He was in his 40s.
Yeah. Keyword I've ever seen, right? I'm 92 was when I was born.
Right.
So.
You're a pup still.
Yeah. Born in 92, so I wasn't the Joe Montana era. I know everything there is to know about Joe Montana, but I just can't say that I was around when he played. So. Yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say about that. I do not see the Pats returning to form. That's just how it is. I think this is the end of an era in the NFL.
I see a second round exit this year.
I see it depends on who their opponent is. Latest second round, okay? Because if they get Buffalo in the wild card round, watch out.
I don't see them going to the Super Bowl. We'll put it that way. They'll get eliminated before they get there.
I don't see them going to the AFC title game even. I say second round latest. So
that's why I said second round.
Yeah. So I agree. All right, now the question I don't want to talk about, but we'll get to. All right. Xavier Rhodes has unquestionably declined. His emotions and frustrations have really boiled over lately. Do you think he can salvage his career at this point? And to play off that, it seems very unlikely he will be a Viking next year. Which teams do you see being a possible fit for him to try to resurrect himself?
Well, not to toot my own horn, but I'm going to toot my own horn. I said something about this 4 weeks ago, and you kind of strongly disagreed with me. And I think the last 4 weeks of you're starting to come around, you're starting to see what I was seeing back then. He can, but he's got to change the way he plays the game. He can no longer run the way he used to. He needs to adapt more like a Richard Sherman. I mean, Richard Sherman looked like he was washed up when he was in Seattle, and he's going down there, went down to San Francisco and revitalized his career because your older corners, your defensive backs, and earlier in their careers, they rely on their speed and their agility and not so much on the mental part of it. With experience, you've seen all these routes. You've got hundreds of thousands of times each. So you almost know what's coming before it actually happens. And that's where Richard Sherman has adapted. He's adapted his game to more of a mental game. I'm going to throw out a couple names that very few people know about, but these were guys that played when I was young, like in my early teens, and that's the Blackwood brothers. They were defensive backs for Miami Twins, and I think, I want to say their 40 times were like in the 5 range.
Right.
You hardly ever saw either one of them out of position because they played with mental intelligence. They could see what's happening before it happened. Granted, the game was so much slower back in them days, but we're talking in 80s. But that's what Richard Sherman is doing, and that's what Xavier Rhodes needs to do if he wants to keep his career going.
Neil, can I stop you? Can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
I actually have something I want you to look at afterwards. Like you made me listen to that Valenti thing, Mike Valenti.
Yeah. You're gonna torment me now?
Look. No, because I just think you're way off on this Xavier Rhodes thing, and that's not his problem. Okay, Xavier Rhodes is maybe the smartest corner in the league, and I showed this to Gangles, right? They did a thing before the season started. Do you have NFL Game Pass?
No.
I may have to illegally give you my password.
All right.
And let you get on there because they have their own like original shows or whatever, and they did like a film session, right? And they had Xavier Rhodes in there, and he was breaking down how he knows every route that's going to be run and every play that's going to be run, whether it's a run, pass, everything before it happens, and told you how he knows. Broke it down. They'd show him they were picking random plays out for him and telling him what the receiver was going to run, asking him what the receiver was going to run. He knew every time.
Okay.
And then he told you
that raises another question that I will ask after you're done.
And so like he told you how he knew like receivers. He said especially receivers he's played against before, but he said you can tell it on most receivers anyways. But especially receivers that he's played against before, you start to realize like their body movements and stuff, like when they're going to get the ball, right? When they're the primary target, they'll do certain stuff. Like he said, OBJ gets up on the line, and if he's the primary receiver, he will unvelcro his gloves, and he'll velcro them back up again. And then he said, now it's game time. And like he knows every time. Like he was showing just a bunch of people like how they line up. Like Julio Jones, he lines up half-assed if it's a run play. Every time. So you know he's not getting the ball. It's a run. Like,
right.
And he can see all this, and he broke it down with several players and stuff. It was crazy. He knew everything. So like I understand what you were saying because you hadn't seen this yet, so you didn't know that. Like, and I 100% agree with. That is a lot of people's problems when they get to that point. And so you're definitely on the mark there. That's not his problem. And so I don't know. Go ahead.
No, I'll finish. Want to hear what you
it might be more of a confidence problem. I think that he had a couple bad games, and he's never really had to deal with being like the bulk of the blame of why the team has like lost or anything like that, because since he was drafted, he's been an all-pro level corner, and I think it's a mental thing, but in a different way. Like he doesn't know how to overcome, and now he second guesses himself. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I feel like it is more than anything. It's the only thing I can come up with.
That answers the question I was about to ask, and that was, well, then if he knows what's coming, then how is he getting hurt?
Yeah, well, I mean, he definitely doesn't have the speed anymore, and I wish they would stop lining him up on the speedy receivers.
Right.
But like he's, that's not his only problem, obviously, because he's never been the fastest guy anyways. So,
right.
But I mean, he's really slow now, but he's never been the fastest guy anyway. So like that. He's already known how to play that. He's always been really physical at the line. He's still doing that, right? That's why I say when he plays bigger receivers, he's better against them. Still, even this year.
Because it's easier to get a piece of him than it is a little guy.
Right. So as long as he's lined up against a bigger guy, he's not a liability. But once he gets those quicker guys, like he handled Julio when they played Atlanta.
Right.
He handled him. Like he had zero problems with Julio Jones.
I think he did a pretty good job against Galladay too, if I remember right.
Yeah, he did good against Galladay.
Yeah.
But even when he was an All-Pro, he had a little bit of trouble with the speedy guys, and now I think since he's taken a step back, it's an even bigger problem. Because if you remember right, 2 years ago they played the Lions on Thanksgiving, right? And Rose hadn't given up a touchdown, and I think Marvin Jones burned him for like 2 touchdowns and like 150 yards.
Yep.
And it was like, out of all the receivers you covered this year, OBJ, Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, this is the guy you give up 150 yards and 2 TDs to?
Right.
Like, it was like, damn, really? And it's just like, and that's the day that I noticed that. I'm like, these speedy guys kind of give him some trouble.
Yeah. But
now it's bad. Now it's just gotten really bad.
As far as, him moving on, which, is more than likely is going to be the case. It really is going to depend on his asking price, how much he's demanding as far as the contract goes. Who's going to sign him? Because,
go ahead.
Teams are smart, though, for the most part, and they see that he's declined a lot as far as coverage ability. And, that's going to, to me, that's the big caveat, is how much is he going to ask for. But, there's several teams out there that could use him. Buffalo, Detroit, Green Bay possibly. Unlikely, but possibly. All the NFC North teams, Chicago, because they got a liability across from Kyle Fuller right now. I can't remember his name. I heard it so many times last night, but you know.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I didn't know. I take that back. I'm going to scratch Chicago off that because I forgot they got Prince Amukamara, and he's injured right now.
Yeah, he's hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. You know, Chicago might pick him up to be a slot corner. You know, Seattle's a possibility. Maybe Arizona. I don't know. Those just the first
Philly?
team that popped into my head.
Philly?
Yeah, Philly. Definitely Philly.
So here's the good thing for Rhodes. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, Philly, I mean, you can almost throw a corpse back there and they would play better than what they got.
Yeah, Rhodes would definitely still be an upgrade in Seattle or in Philly's secondary.
Oh, yeah.
Because at least he can cover physical guys. Philly's secondary can't cover anybody. So, like...
Right. Yeah. Philly's corners can't cover themselves with a blanket.
Right. All right. What I was going to say was, I guess the good thing for Rhodes is that sometimes people realize that when they change teams, they kind of get a little glimpse of what they used to be back. And there's going to be a team that'll gamble on the fact that he can go back to all-pro form. So he'll definitely get a team. He won't be like the free agent that doesn't get signed again.
No, I know. I mean, if that's what, you know, it sounded like I was insinuating it.
No. I'm just reiterating my point too.
Yeah, Tampa Bay could use.
Tampa Bay could use him. So there's a lot of teams that need corners. All right, Neil, my phone's at like 18%, so we got to hit this last question and do our picks.
All right.
Based on the post in the NFL Longest Yard group about quarterback traits and people being all over on toughness, is it really a question that someone was tougher than Brett Favre?
Actually, I commented on there. I don't know if you read it or not.
I did.
But it didn't happen at the pro level, but I guarantee you, had it happened at the pro level, he still would have done it. And I would have to say I didn't say he was tougher then in the post, but the more I thought about it, yeah, he was tougher then, in my opinion. And that's Byron Leftwich. And for those who are listening and don't know, Byron Leftwich was the quarterback for Marshall University. In 2002, they were playing Akron in a home game, and he got his tibia broken, early in the first quarter. They took him to the hospital. They casted it. He came back to the stadium, geared back up in time for the fourth quarter. Marshall was trailing, and they lost the game, but he still threw for over 300 yards that game.
In only two quarters?
No, not even 2 quarters, because it was like 10 something left in the first when it happened. So a quarter and 5 minutes. And he threw for over 300 yards. Every time they threw the ball, his lineman would carry him. And Byron Leftwich is like 260.
Yeah, he was a big guy, Leftwich was. I remember him playing for Jacksonville.
His lineman would literally throw, one on each side, throw an arm over their shoulder, and they would run him to the line of scrimmage.
Jesus, that is tough.
You got to YouTube it, dude. I'm telling you, it is
amazing.
Amazing to watch.
I had vaguely heard about that story. You sometimes see highlights on the sports shows.
You got to watch the video. It's amazing.
I will look up that video. So, what was I going to say? Actually, kind of a homer pick here. Stafford has to be close.
Yeah, I thought about him too.
Guy separated his shoulder, came back in through a touchdown pass. His arm was hanging. He played last year with a broken back and had to be forced to not play this year with a broken back because he was going to play. He wasn't going to sit out. The doctor had to literally tell him he can't go in, and he wasn't going to allow it for him to go in. The guy's tough. I don't care what Lions fans have to say. What about Stafford or what the problem is with the Lions? Straight toughness, you can't question it.
No,
you can't.
He's probably one of the toughest I've ever seen.
I don't know if he's as tough as Favre, but he's got to be right close to that level. Brett Favre was Brett Favre was tough. Yeah.
Well, if I remember right, I believe Favre played a game with a separated non-throwing shoulder, and it's a non-throwing shoulder. But you know what? Everything you do with a separated shoulder hurts. That shoulder hurts. Anything, especially when as much velocity and torque as he put on the ball when he threw it. You cannot tell me that's not affecting his non-throwing shoulder.
No, yeah, it definitely is. That's why I think it's crazy when Stafford did it too, because, like I said, not the throwing shoulder, right? But doesn't matter. Like you still, anybody who's ever thrown a football here, which I hope to God everybody's watching has, you use that shoulder still.
Yeah.
When you throw the ball, you're not gonna have any power if you don't use your shoulder. It's gonna go like 4 yards. Like, let's just be real. That's just pure arm strength. It'll go probably right into the dirt, and it'll be like 4 or 5 yards.
But,
like, maybe I'm underestimating, but it's not gonna go very far. You know what I mean?
Farber was definitely a tough SOB. I mean, granted, he was helped along a lot by narcotics. Given he had a Vicodin addiction. So he was pretty doped up in some of them games where he was really injured and still out there. But I can think of a couple that were tougher.
Right. So that's pretty much what I got to say about that. So, we'll hit the picks now. You got your pick sheet?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Last night I picked Chicago and got it right. Neil picked Dallas. So I'm off to a great start this week.
Thanks, Lynn.
All right. I'll lead the first one, and then we can roll back and forth.
All right.
After that. Carolina at Atlanta. There's the two teams lately that have been kind of rocky. Atlanta sucked for so long, and then kind of came along and got a stride for a little bit, and then last week kind of got rocked by Tampa Bay, and Carolina was a team that was really good for a long stretch, and now are hit and miss every week now. I picked Atlanta in this game. Julio's back, Hooper's back. It's in Atlanta, and those are the difference makers for me, right? Their two biggest weapons, and they're at home, and that's why I think Atlanta is going to take this. Neither team's really got anything to play for now. Carolina's not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, but they are. Like, they just got no shot. So it's just pretty much just one of those pride games here. So I'm taking Atlanta at home.
That's funny because that was the reason. Everything was the exact same reason I took Atlanta. They're getting Julio back. They're getting Hooper back. They're at home. And they don't want to finish last.
Yeah.
And so they're going to do everything they can to, prevent that from happening. So I'm taking Atlanta.
Yep.
Next one is Baltimore at Buffalo, and I think this is going to be a really good game. If it were in Baltimore, I think it would be a little more lopsided, but it's not. I'm not sure what the weather's going to be like because you never know in Buffalo. It could snow 60 inches the day of.
The weather calls for flaming tables and aggressive Bills fans.
Right. Baltimore is just on fire right now in all aspects, special teams, offense, defense. I mean, they haven't shown much of a chink in the armor. It's definitely, both these teams love to run the football, and it's going to be in Buffalo. There's probably going to be a chance or so, and it's just going to be a ground and pound game, in my opinion.
I think it's going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, I do too. Lamar Jackson is just playing otherworldly right now. Jared Allen's actually playing really well himself.
Josh?
They both made.
Josh. You do this all the time.
Again.
Yeah.
I did again. Josh Allen is, they're both playing exceptionally well for second-year quarterbacks.
It's supposed to be only cloudy all day in Bills Mafia territory.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to take Baltimore just because they're the really hot team right now. As far as the way they're playing, they have a lot of confidence, and I think they got too many weapons for Buffalo to handle.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be interesting being in Buffalo. I think this game could be pretty close, right? I want to watch this game. Unfortunately, they play at the same time as my team does, so me and Grant will be at Buffalo Wild Wings watching the game. Minnesota game. But the good thing about Buffalo Wild Wings is this game will still be on somewhere in there. So I'll be able to catch glimpses of the game. So I think that this is like the game I'm looking forward to the most, I think, this weekend. I think the Bills got a solid defense. Both teams got a solid running games, but the Bills defense, you can run on them. And that's not good when you're playing Baltimore. So the one good thing about Buffalo, though, and they're not getting a lot of respect for it, is Josh Allen is low-key playing really good football right now. And nobody talks about it. You know, like, so he's been making plays. And I expect them to keep this game close. I really do. I think that that this game will be a one-score game. I don't really have a score for it, but I think it'll be within the one-score range. Buffalo's got to come out hot, though. They got to come out trying to put points up right away. No conservative football right off the get-go. Like, try to punch them in the mouth immediately.
The other thing I wanted to add to is, with Josh Allen's play, the way he's been playing, he actually resurrected the career of John Brown.
He has.
Which was absolutely dead. I mean, the guy had so much promise when he was in Arizona, but that sickle cell anemia just kept getting to him. And, being in Arizona, it's not the best place to be. Especially when you got to go to higher elevations to play, because that's when it really triggers that. But John Brown's really come on, and so has Devin Singletary.
Yep, I agree. I got Baltimore in this game, in a tight one. I expect it to be fun. I suggest everybody check that game out. Cincinnati and Cleveland. Man, I want to say Cleveland so bad. And I am going to take Cleveland, but it just would not shock me at this point if they didn't win.
I was going to say, don't make me come hunt you down.
Because Neil, I know they're your boys, but they've been underperforming so bad. And it's crazy to watch. And I'm not even a Browns fan, and I get frustrated watching it. It's like, how is this team not great?
Imagine being a fan and watching it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Kitchens problem, and I can't wait till he's gone. They should beat Cincinnati. They are every way, shape, and form the better team, and they're at home. It's in Ohio. I don't know if really that makes a difference.
Actually, it's in Cleveland, and Cincinnati. Really, the Cincinnati fan range is kind of about halfway down on the west side of the state. And that little pocket of that little corner and into Kentucky, it's probably about as far down as like Richmond, Kentucky. That's Cincinnati range. The rest of it.
So they're primarily Cleveland fans in Ohio. They're primarily Cleveland fans in Ohio, then.
Yes. Oh yeah. Okay. Definitely.
I've only been to Ohio once to go to Cedar Point, so I wouldn't really know. Wait. No, twice. I went to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I think that's in Ohio, right?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so I've been there twice, but I slept I was only a kid when I went to Pro Football Hall of Fame, so I pretty much slept that whole trip, so.
We're going to have to go.
Huh?
We're going to have to go.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, we are going to have to go to the Pro Football Hall.
Oh, I thought you meant like we're going to have to go, speed this up, we travel.
No.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, we got to go, dude. I had fun, and I was just a kid, and I had fun.
Yep.
But I got Cleveland here. Oh, my phone's going to... I got 10% now. We got to start flying through these. All right, so I got Cleveland. They're just a way better team. Go ahead, Neil.
Obviously, I'm going to take Cleveland. Cincinnati, go kick rocks. Cleveland's getting Njoku back. He's off the IR.
Yep.
And he will be playing this week.
Damn you, Curtis.
There was interesting rumors flying around about OBJ wanting out. Well, I got a tweet from him. It says, okay, I never said I was not happy in Cleveland. Just like everyone else, I'm hoping for better results, period. Next story, please.
Yeah.
So let's put that to rest, because that's much bullshit. And I never
he just wants to win. He's been misunderstood his whole career, though, like that.
I know, and people that throw fuel on the fire. Well, there's no fire really, but they just try to add fuel to it. Just pisses me off because it's unsubstantiated. You have no basis for your opinion, other than it's your opinion.
Right.
So shut up.
Now you guys wonder why I used to get mad when he was in New York and people used to do this. I used to say all the time, the guy just wants to win. He's not really a diva. He just wants to win football games. Like, you should be passionate like that.
I wouldn't want a receiver that wasn't.
Or exactly.
Any player.
Exactly.
In high school, when I was coaching high school, we had a kid that, I wasn't the head coach. We had a kid fly. There was nobody in the league you could run with him. You could just do 9 routes to this kid all game long and win.
Right.
And the head coach refused to do it. And when the kid asked the head coach, he's like, Coach, throw me the ball more. I already throw it to you 5 times a game. It's like, what? He's the best player in the league.
Right.
And you're going to get to him 5 times a game and call that enough? Whatever.
Right.
Shut up. Okay, so next game is Washington at Green Bay. This should be a cakewalk. It's in, like I said, it's in Green Bay. Green Bay's fighting to take this division. I think if they win, definitely if they win 2 more games, I think they got it locked up. Pretty much, regardless of what happens between them and Minnesota.
Yep.
I believe Minnesota would actually have to win out and win that Green Bay game as well to affect the tiebreaker. So, I'm going to take Green Bay all day long in this. Haskins is just not materializing into an NFL quarterback. So, I don't know. Just like I said, there isn't really much to say about this.
Yeah, I agree. Haskins has looked better the past couple weeks, but he's still not to a level yet that you want him to be at. Green Bay, it's in Green Bay. It's not even in Washington, so I could say that sometimes Green Bay's let down on the road. But it's in Green Bay where they're really tough to beat. No, people don't like to go to Lambeau. They just don't have the pieces. But the one thing is, Adrian Peterson averages about 150 yards a game on the ground against Green Bay. So, and Peterson and Geis both had 100 yards last week, I think. Peterson had 99. And Geis had 150. So, that's some pretty good running. So
yeah, Geis is a stud if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, that's the problem. And I think they're going to continue to split carries pretty evenly because you don't want to overuse guys coming off these injuries. So,
there's no sense of burning them up and putting them on the shelf for next year. So
right, I don't even think they should have brought him back in a lost season, to be honest with you. But that's just me.
I don't either.
Detroit at Minnesota, no Stafford, no problem. There's no defense here because you might as well start calling them Detroit because they got no D. Okay, so last time they played, Minnesota put up 42 points on them, and that was they had zero problem moving the ball at all. And it's going to be the same this week. And that was in Detroit. This is in Minnesota. It's only going to be worse. There is no shot. It's not even a homer pick. It's just going off evidence from last game, right? So Detroit's defense hasn't gotten any better. If anything, it's gotten worse. Minnesota's offense is just as good as it was the first time they played them because Thielen got hurt on the first drive of that game. So it's the exact same offense they played last time. Minnesota's going to run away with it. I know you don't want them to, Neil, but that's just how this is going to be. So.
Homer. I'm going to take it. I tried so hard to find a way to justify picking Detroit in this game. I really did. I studied this game for a half an hour.
Detroit's not better anywhere. They're not better anywhere than Minnesota.
It's I can't even find a way.
Right.
Unless they're going to run Prater out there 80 times during this game. But there's not much to say about it. Detroit is an absolute train wreck. I think the sooner they part with Patricia, the better off they'll be. And I think Quinn needs to go too because majority of these acquisitions have not panned out at all for the Lions. Not one iota. It's just the Detroit Patriots do not and will never exist. So,
Trey Flowers is looking better now.
Okay, there's one.
They're playing Minnesota this week. I'm not coming to the Detroit Superman today. They're playing Minnesota. They're my enemy.
I'll hit you with the counterpoint. Tease Tabor.
Tease Tabor was amazing. He just didn't get an opportunity.
Really?
Joking.
Remind me, what team does he play for?
He did get picked up by somebody. I don't know who it was though. Yeah, he did get picked up. I remember reading it. He did get signed by somebody. I don't remember who it was.
He's garbage. Any corner that runs a 4.8 40 is garbage. I don't care.
You should play safety at that point. I don't know why you're still a corner. So.
He's listed as a corner.
No, I'm saying if you're that slow, you should be safety, not a corner.
San Francisco, and he's probably like the last corner on the depth chart.
I was just kidding with you. I have no defense for Tease Tabor. I thought he was going to be good because he was great at Florida, but
yeah, that's college.
Yeah, but Florida, and it's like LSU. They produce a lot of those players, those good players.
Yeah. Well,
so
anyway, Minnesota's just going to whitewash.
Yeah, we spent too much time on that game.
Yeah. San Francisco at New Orleans. This is going to be a barn burner, in my opinion.
Oh, I forgot this game was on schedule.
Both have good defenses. San Francisco has a stellar defense. New Orleans has a just below stellar defense, in my opinion. Both have great offenses, great offensive-minded coaches.
One team's got a quarterback. That's proven.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the only advantage is that I can see for New Orleans is they have the experienced veteran, very intelligent quarterback that knows how to bring a team back in situations, and they're home. And the Superdome can be a really, really, really loud place. I know it's not called the Superdome anymore, but I don't care. I don't know.
Isn't it Mercedes-Benz Stadium?
Whatever. Financial institution. I don't
two
shits about
preferred credit union stadium.
Yeah. But I'm going to take New Orleans in this game just because of Brees and their home.
Yep, that's the same reason why I'm taking them. You don't want to play Drew Brees in New Orleans, and you just don't. It doesn't work out most of the time unless a ref misses a call that's completely blatant. But yeah, I think it'll be a great game though. Don't get me wrong. I think the game's gonna be close. It will be, but I just don't see them getting the win here. And unfortunately for San Francisco, they need the win here.
Yep.
Way more than New Orleans does. Because New Orleans is locked, right? I mean, I know they're still playing for seeding, but their seeding's already a home game, and San Francisco's trying not to be that 13-3 wild card team that's to play on the road. So
in Dallas.
I know. Or Philly. So petrifying. But still, you just don't want to, right? We've seen it before. 7-9 Seahawks beat the 13-3 New Orleans Saints. Yeah, so we've seen it before, right? See, the home field makes a difference, right? So you just don't want to do it, and San Francisco don't want to do it. They're gonna be fighting for their lives, but I just think that Drew Brees is too much. All right, his inner Brees Christ is gonna be here to save them all. And I think that they win it in a close one, in a fun one. Next game, Miami and the Jets. Boy.
This was another one I had a hard time with.
I picked the Jets because they have more talent. I said that earlier, and that's all I'm saying about this game because I already explained this game, and I don't want to get into this headache again.
Yeah, I picked the Jets for the same reason, and then I found out Jamal Adams is going to be out and wishing I could have had my picks back so I could have taken the Dolphins. Sorry, Sherry. This is what it is.
She's not expecting anything out of the Jets anymore.
Is that what she said?
No, I just know she's not. I see her all the time. It's not like she's not really talking up her team ever anymore. So
right. I'll take the Jets because they're home.
Yeah, good pick. Okay, go on.
The next one is Indy at Tampa Bay. Indy is getting Marlon Mack back this week, and Paris Campbell as well. And that Paris Campbell is really going to help them with missing T.Y. Hilton because he will not be playing.
Nope, he's out again. Yep.
And I believe he's done for the year, actually. That's what I thought I read somewhere. But So I'm going to take Indianapolis in this because I mean, Frank Reich is a smart guy. He knows what Tampa's weakness is, and he's going to run the ball and keep him honest. But I think you're going to see Brissett airing it out a little more this week, especially if they have the speedy Campbell back. Campbell can get down the field quick.
Right.
And I don't think Tampa's got anybody that can cover it, to be honest. And the other thing too is they have a lot of gadget plays they like to use with them, little trickerations. And so I'm going to take Indy in this one, and I don't think it's going to be close.
Player, I don't remember which player it was, but he said that Indy is going to run the table, or not Indy, Tampa Bay is going to run the table and make the playoffs in the NFC at 9-7. So, with that being said, I'm taking Indy in this game. Because when players run their mouth like that, it usually backfires.
Yep.
And this game is actually tougher to pick than it looks on paper because you just think Indy's just a better team, right? But Tampa Bay plays really well during some games. So they're another Jekyll and Hyde team we didn't really mention.
Right.
They are just confusing. Jameis Winston either throws 4 touchdowns or he throws 4 interceptions or both in the same game, and it's just you just
and 300 yards.
Yeah, and 300 yards, and it's got man. I picked Indy. I just think that they got a more stable quarterback, and that's where I think you gotta go when you're facing a tough matchup like this. Trust Jameis to keep the ball out of an Indy defender's hands, and that turnovers kill you. And Jameis Winston's got like 22 interceptions on the year, which, by the way, is absolutely insane. It takes Tom Brady like 10 seasons to throw that many interceptions. Like,
that's crazy.
That's insane. 22 picks. Like, even Eli Manning's only done 20 plus like once.
You would think that he would have figured this out. That was the knock on him when he was at Florida State, is he tends to turn the ball over too much.
Neil, there's still 4 games to go, and he's got 22 picks.
Yeah. I think, the other one I can remember is starting quarterback that had, a recent quarterback was Peyton Manning's rookie year. He had 26.
Eli Manning had 25?
Yeah, something like that.
Eli Manning had 25, I think, one year. I think 2013. Yeah, it's right after they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
2013. That's this year.
I put him on my fantasy roster that year, and I wanted to set him on fire.
All right, yeah. My phone just gave me the 5% warning. So.
All right. Let's fly.
All right, Denver at Houston. I got Houston. I think they're a better team. Denver just doesn't have the offense to keep up with Houston. Deshaun Watson's a great quarterback. He's been syncing really well with his receivers the last few weeks, and coming off a big victory over in New England, I think they continue the roll, and they're going to march right into the postseason.
Yep. I'm taking Houston also, all the same reasons. They're the stronger team. They're at home, and they're clicking right now, and the defense has actually come to life. So I don't really see Denver having much of a chance in this one. The next one we have is the LA Chargers at Jacksonville. Chargers are in disarray right now. That offense, because of Philip Rivers, I think he has hit a serious wall, much like Brady. I don't see them being able to save Anthony Lynn from being fired. So I'm going to. Jacksonville is in a much better situation.
Humania is back.
And Jacksonville loves to run the football, which is San Diego's defensive weakness. So I think you're going to see Fournette get north of 22 carries in this game, and Jacksonville's just going to grind it out and pull out a narrow victory.
Yeah, Minshew's back. Welcome back, Jacksonville offense. You were missed. They're going to put up a fight in this game. I think they're a lot better team with Minshew. I'm picking the Chargers. I'm going to pick the Chargers in this game. I think the way that they lost the game last week is going to kind of urge them to win this game a little bit. They really blew that game last week against Denver, and it would be heartbreaking if they were in playoff contention, but they're not. So I don't care that much, but nobody likes to lose a game like that on a pass interference call when all you had to do was let the ball go over your head and you go into overtime. Awful. And that shows undisciplined coaching. So Anthony Lynn's kind of got to get that under control. I picked the Chargers in a close one. $100 to Denver would finish last in the AFC West. So I'm picking the Chargers because Denver's got no shot at beating Houston. So Tennessee at Oakland. Oakland's they've scored 12. They've been outscored 76-12 in their last two games. Gruden will not put up with that. Expect a revitalized Oakland team in Oakland this week and to go nuts because that kid has just been unstoppable lately. I think it'll be a close game. Tannehill's played amazing since he's been a starting quarterback for Tennessee. Actually, I think he's number 1 or 2 in every passing category since the day he's took over in the league. Tennessee hasn't seen that since Steve McNair. So, it's probably foreign to them. They don't know how to feel about it. But I just feel like Gruden ain't going to let his team drop 3 in a row. And I think the better coaching wins here. And that's Oakland. So that's what I'm going with here.
Yeah, I'm going to take Oakland too for a lot of the same reasons. I believe they are going to feed Josh Jacobs the ball until he's got footballs coming out of his ears.
Just keep it out of Derek Carr's hands, please.
Yeah, he's a stud, and he's going to be a force in this league for quite a while.
I agree.
Gruden, I assure you, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall during practice this week because I probably would have learned a new vernacular. And I've got a pretty extensive one.
Yeah.
Especially when I get mad.
Yeah.
But, I assure you, he lit them boys up practice this week. Tennessee, that's a long way to go to play a game. And a lot of teams that, travel out there really, they might get a win, but it's a hard-fought win. I see this being a close game with Oakland coming out on top.
Yep.
Next one is Kansas City at New England. I'm not really going to say too much on this other than this is when, if they're going to make a serious playoff run, they need to start stepping it up right now. This is the week. They got to start doing it because playoffs are coming close. They got to get everything buttoned up and ready to go. Tyreek Hill's been quiet the last couple weeks, and I don't know if that's due to defensive schemes on him or what, but hopefully Patrick Mahomes is healthy. I don't think he's been healthy the last couple of weeks or since he came back. The New England defense isn't as vaunted as it was. I think people have found holes in it, and they're exploiting that. Brady is not the quarterback he was, and I think Sony Michel is overrated. So I'm going to take Kansas City in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to take Kansas City too because I also feel New England's overrated, and Brady's on the decline, and I don't think they can keep up with this offense. But New England needs to win this game because if they drop another one to a winning team, everybody in the world is going to see that they're just not what they are. This is on the two teams that they've lost to, and I don't think they can make it a third. You're going to run out of excuses here. You've only played 4 good teams, and if you lose to 3 of them, starts to look suspect.
Yep.
Especially in the AFC where it's weak. At least in the NFC you could say, but they were really good teams, right? So, like, here, there's only like 3 good teams. So you need to be able to beat them. Period.
Yep.
You barely beat Dallas, and everybody kicks the shit out of them. So, it's... New England's got to. I mean, Bill Belichick's got to figure something out with this team. But I don't think it's going to happen. So, Kansas City here because they're just the better team. Pittsburgh at Arizona. I got Pittsburgh in this game. Arizona's confusing to me. Sometimes they look great. Sometimes they look like the worst team in the league, like last week. Kyler Murray's injured. He's not healthy right now. He's playing through it, but I don't know. He doesn't look the same. He's not playing the same. And I think that's the difference here. Mike Tomlin should be coach of the year. I'm saying it right now. He won't win it, but he should be. To be able to have this team with what they've gone through and the injuries they have at 7-5 and in the 6th seed in the AFC, you should be coach of the year. And anybody who ever thought that they should fire him from Pittsburgh, you're an idiot. So.
Yeah, I picked this game before I found out about the Kyler Murray injury. I didn't really do too much research on this. I didn't hear that he was hurt. But given that being said, I would have taken Pittsburgh had I known that. But I got to go with my pick, and I went with Arizona. I just think they find a way to win this game. Kenyon Drake, in my opinion, needs to get the ball more. They need to quit experimenting with David Johnson. He's not what he was. But Drake needs to be out there. You know, he's starting to fall back into the role he was in Miami.
Where he was unhappy.
That, to me, is absolutely disgusting. A disgusting waste of talent.
Yeah.
The kid is uber talented. I thought that when he was at Alabama, I thought he was actually the best back at Alabama at the time. But for whatever reason, he's always got this label put on him that he's a third down specialist. He is not a third down specialist. This kid can play all three downs. He is slippery. He's quick. But you know, Pittsburgh, they're not going to have Connor in this game. So Benny Snow will be carrying the rock for him, and Jalen Samuels on third down. Juju's going to be playing this game. I think they found a possible quarterback in Devin Hodges. He's definitely way better than Mason Rudolph. And I think Mason Rudolph's nothing but a dirty little.
Hey, it's kind of funny that a black dude took his job.
Yeah.
Want to throw that out there?
What's that?
I said I just want to throw that one out there.
Right. Yeah, so quick karma. We'll call that quick karma.
Quick karma. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm taking Arizona because, like I said, I took them before I found out about the Kyler injury, but I'll stick with my pick.
Yep. Okay. Sunday night.
Next one, Seattle at the Rams.
Rams are actually a Vegas favorite in this matchup. I'm pointing that out right now.
Yeah. Well, I wish I had a way to play it. I'm going to take Seattle. Seattle's hot right now. Russell Wilson, to me, is the best all-around quarterback playing right now. Lamar Jackson is the better runner, but Wilson is a much better passer.
Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback playing, but okay.
No, not best all around. Kirk Cousins cannot run.
Kirk Cousins will burn you with his feet.
Okay.
You can't even take me seriously.
I'm not gonna entertain this homerism. But Seattle's playing really well right now, and
they are.
I think they go into, the Rams are in disarray. They got a horrible quarterback. Nothing seems to be working. No matter what McVay tries to scheme up, it doesn't work. The receivers seem to be out of
it. They got to win this game, though. They got to.
They got to win it, but I don't see them doing it, so I'm going to take Seattle.
I'm taking Seattle, too. Not because I think that the Rams are not talented. I still think they're talented. I don't know what's going on this year. I think McVay's a good coach. I think just sometimes he just has these years.
I just don't think Goff is talented.
Goff isn't the problem to me. I know. I'm sorry, Curtis. Curtis is a huge Goff fan. He doesn't think he's the problem. Man. I'm sorry. I do think he's the problem. And I know you're just going to bash Kirk Cousins all week now because I said it. But one guy's performing and the other guy's not. So that's all I got to say on that. But I think he's the issue for the Rams right now. And I'm not saying it's not fixable. Goff's still fairly young. But they got to, for this year, it's not going to be fixable this year. So they're going to have to, they got to feed Gurley. He's been a little bit more involved in the offense. And he's looked better. They crushed Arizona last week. That was probably a good sign because I think it's the first team they've blown out in forever. That's got to feel good for the Rams a little bit. But there's no playing around with Seattle. You're not going to blow out Seattle. You're not going to come out and intimidate Seattle. Russell Wilson has double the TDs that Goff has this year. Double. It's just not. It's. I don't think it's feasible to happen. I'm sorry. I don't know Vegas how they became a 1.5 favorite in this game makes no sense to me. How they're the favorite. Like in every shape and form, Seattle should be the favorite. I don't care who's at home. Like.
And just to touch back on what you just said about Wilson having double the quarterback or double the touchdowns that Goff has.
Yeah.
That's, if you sit and think about what Goff has for weapons, that's insane.
Yeah. and I don't know what to. I hope I eat my words. I think Goff's a good kid. I want to see him succeed. So I hope I can eat my words and it's just a down year. But I just don't think he's that good. He makes really suspect throws a lot, and it just doesn't look like he's got like the intelligence to be a quarterback. And IQ's huge as a QB, and it's caused him a lot of issues this year. 1%. Shit, I gotta go. I got Seattle in this game, and then tomorrow or Monday night I got the Giants, just because it doesn't seem like Philly or Dallas wants to win this division. So I just kind of want to see somebody win it at like 6-10, or hopefully Washington can surprise everybody, win out and go in. That would be crazy. But Eli Manning starting Monday, and what a feel good story that would be. Let it happen, Eli. You can't spell elite without Eli. Facts.
Okay, Mister. Hey, I'll give you. I can't even remember that ridiculous offer you're trying to pawn Eli off on me.
I tried to trade Eli for everybody in the book.
I know. You wanted like an elite quarterback and a couple first-round picks, and give me Eli and a whole bunch of 5th and 6th round picks.
And every time I did it, I'd be like, you can't spell elite without Eli.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. Eli's he's not mobile, and the Giants right now need a mobile quarterback because that line's still not right.
Nope.
After all these years,
I do agree, but it's
Philly's playing for their playoff lives right now. The Dallas loss, I think, really sparks them. I think they're going to come out and they're going to play lights out, and it's at home. You know, Philly fan is
the worst fan.
Philly fan is no joy to play in front of when you're the opponent.
Eli Manning said that they talk about his mother when he's there, and he doesn't like it.
Oh, I guarantee you it's worse than that even.
I know, but you know the Manning humor. That's the one that he's going to point out. You know.
But, I'm going to take Philly in this.
All right, we'll put our picks on Facebook. Thank you guys for watching. Neil, thanks for being on, man.
Yep, thanks guys for watching us, and thanks for having me on, Zach.
Yep. Talk to you later, bro.